even before the long term, I would want my career to involve Uganda in some way. My partner has been super supportive. So if my partner wasn't as supportive, I don't know how I would do it.
Are you a international medical graduate, or you're currently in medical school outside the US, but you've considered going into residency in the US or in the UK? If you are, watch this video till the end. Hi, everyone. This is Dr. L. Welcome to Making Healthy Choices with Dr. L. For everyone who's new here, welcome. My name is Dr. L. For everybody who is a returning subscriber, thank you for hanging in there. Today, I bring you an exciting video. I have Dr. Cissy, who I met on YouTube. I'm a very private person, despite me having a YouTube channel. I like keeping to myself. But when I saw her videos, I could relate to her. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to comment because she had a recording with one of her colleagues from Uganda who's currently doing research in the US at NIA. And he mentioned countries that he's been in Africa, and he mentioned Botswana. I was like, ooh, Botswana. I was so excited. So I commented on that video, and that's how we, started conversing. And that's why we're here today. Dr. Cissy is originally from Uganda. She did her medical training in Uganda, but now she's in the UK. So welcome, Dr. Cissy. Could you tell us a little bit more about yourself and how you ended up in medicine in the first place?
Hi, everyone. My name is Cissy. Welcome to Lame's channel. I'm happy to be here. I love coming into other people's channels. Don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and leave us a comment below. I am a mom of 3 kids, so at some point, I'm sure my 7-month-old is going to show up, and then I have a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old as well. I am a psychiatrist in training. I'm in my 2nd year, and I am also a content creator.
Yeah.
I'm a YouTuber, and I'm also very active, I think, on Instagram. Yeah, so the first question was how I got into medicine. And I actually just spoke about this weekend. And basically what happened is that I was kind of nudged into it by my parents. Growing up, they keep asking you, what do you want to be? What do you want to be? And honestly, I never knew what I wanted to be. Every day you'd say something different. And then when I was in my S3, so that's when I was 15 years old in high school, I was what is called an infirmary supervisor. So we had an infirmary or a sick bay where they are like sick like students, and then there was a nurse, and there had to be 2 people who are supervisors. So we'd sleep there with the other students who are unwell, and then help them out, like help them, bring for them food, help them lay their beds, like because they're not well. I don't know why they didn't just send them home, but in that school, it was so difficult to go back home, like to be sent home. It was so difficult. So they would nurse you there unless you needed like a drip, like IV fluids or something. But otherwise, there was a nurse, and then there was a visiting doctor who would come and visit. So basically, my job was to be there looking after sick patients, and I really, really enjoyed it. So I actually wanted to be a nurse. And when it was time to decide, this is at the end of A-levels, or during A-levels actually, time for deciding what course you want to do. I wanted to do nursing, or I also enjoyed cooking, and so I wanted to do nutrition. But the thing is, I don't think I wanted to do nutrition. What I really wanted was to be a chef, and that was the closest thing, yes. But my African parents were not going to let me be a chef. So then the next thing they hung on to was nursing. You said nursing, just be a doctor. Then even now I realized what I really love, what I meant was nursing. It wasn't to be a doctor, because I love to be the one who's there looking after a patient, having a chat with the patient. But you don't get to do that much in medicine. Although in psychiatry, I think we do get to engage with patients much more than other doctors. So then when we were filling in the forms, they made me put medicine, even though I really did not want to put medicine. I really wanted to put nursing. So I insisted, and at least I put nursing as like my 3rd choice. And my dad said no, like he was really trying to make sure he wanted me to take it off, that it should only be medicine, like at different universities. And I insisted, I said no, I would rather do nursing, say in a particular university, which was like the one in the capital, than to go further away to do medicine there. Then he said, okay, fine. So then they left me to do it. But in the end, I ended up getting medicine. And that's how I came into medicine, and now I'm a doctor. And I think I'm happy to be a doctor, to be honest. I think I am happy because I'm making it what I want.
Mhm.
I'm not doing medicine just because I was forced. Now I'm doing the medicine the way I think I would love it to be. Like I'm incorporating the other bits that I would have wanted anyways.
Wow, what an interesting journey to medicine. You know, some people know from when they're really young that they want to be doctors. You know, it's interesting how parents can nudge you in a certain direction and you end up loving it. You mentioned that you're doing psychiatry. So how did you end up in the UK? So I know you've covered this in your channel. I'll have Cissy's channel linked down below. Please go and check her out. I love her videos. I've watched almost all of them. When you watch her videos, you'll see how it is that she ended up in the UK and the process, and she talks about how to get there. But for the sake of this video, you know, can you give us a brief overview of how did you decide to go to the UK and do specialty training there? Could you have done it in Uganda? And
Mm,
if you could
mm,
have done it in Uganda, why did you choose UK over Uganda?
I knew that I wanted to do psychiatry from like around it was my end of fourth year medical school. Just because the last question that we did was psychiatry, and my psychiatry professor, because I was the best in psychiatry, so he called me in and he's like, "Oh, have you considered psychiatry?" And I had not. So then I was like, he basically sold it to me. He told me all the pros, and then I realized actually I do like talking to people. I do like hearing about people's stories. I like to know why people do things. And also, I do have a family history of mental illness. I think everyone does, to be honest, but people maybe don't realize it. But I had a young family member who had schizophrenia when I was in my fifth year of medical school. She was 16, and then she started hearing voices. And then they took her to a doctor and they said she has schizophrenia, and I could not believe it. I said, it cannot be. That is too extreme. And I grabbed her and I took her to my professor, actually. I was like, I've brought you to a proper doctor. Tell us what is the diagnosis. And he said, yes, it was schizophrenia. And you know, if you have a family history of different mental illnesses, but schizophrenia specifically, the closer your relative is, the higher your own chances of having it. So, anyways, and that disease or that condition really scared me because I was like, can you imagine hearing someone talking to you? And usually they were saying bad, negative things about you all the time. Eh? Can you imagine how scary that would be? And I had that feeling of it could happen to me. And because of that, I felt like I would want someone to look out for me or to take care of me if that happened to me. That's what made me do psychiatry. So psychiatry was really easy to get into in my country because there's not enough psychiatrists. So it's one of the only ones where we actually, at that time, there were scholarships available because usually you have to pay to do residency training in Uganda. You have to pay tuition to a university, even though you're working. So you have no income for the 3 years that you're training. But for psychiatry, there's scholarships that will even give you a stipend. So for me, I knew I could easily get that. But I felt like I wanted to go out in the abroad. I wanted to go out. It looked cool. Like everyone wanted to go out. Like people used to talk about the US. I used to watch Grey's Anatomy, like I wanted to live that life. So anyway, the USMLEs, everyone was talking about them. I was even studying for them at some point. But then I heard about Canada and I didn't have enough information. So that psychiatry professor was actually had done his own residence in Canada. That's where I got the idea from. And for him, he had outdated information, unfortunately, because he'd been in Canada like 20 years prior. So his information wasn't up to date. And so I thought there were only 2 exams that you had to do. And I thought I could do them all in Uganda. So I started the process without looking for, I guess, proper information. And I started the process. And then halfway through, I realized I can't go on because to get into a Canadian residency program, you have to have at least permanent residency, which I did not have. So that ended there. And then I had applied for an MSc in global mental health in the UK as a backup plan. Like, yeah, and I got it. And I applied for a scholarship and I got it. And so my plan B worked way better than my plan A. And so that's how I ended up in the UK. I came to the UK to do the MSc. And so while here is when I found out about all the exams that I would need to do to work as a doctor here, basically.
Sometimes the road to wherever it is that you're trying to get to is never straightforward. Now that you're in England doing psychiatry, you said that in Uganda it's 3 years. So in the UK, like how long is it?
6 years.
Wow. So it's double the time. So after you complete your psychiatry training, Are you planning to go back to Uganda? What is your plan?
So my long-term plan is not clear at all. It's a bit fuzzy. And what makes it complicated is that it's not about me anymore completely. Because I have kids now, I have a husband, and we're not on the same page, to be honest. Like for him, he does not see a future in Uganda. Well, I kind of do.
Mhm.
So I don't know how it would work. But I feel like at least even before the long term, I would want my career to involve Uganda in some way, at least to have a life where I can kind of go back frequently and to come back, to go back home to work, not
Mhm.
just go on holiday. I would want to be involved in the mental health service, in improving our health system as well. Because recently I saw there's a job, it's a fellowship that's by the National Health Service, the NHS here in the UK,
Mhm.
and it's in Uganda and it's in perinatal mental health. Yeah, it's starting in August. I can't go because obviously I'm on maternity leave and but when I saw that job, I was like, it gave me so much hope. I was like,
Mhm.
I can actually do this. I can do like my dream is not too big. So it's a kind of thing that it's a placement. So you go for 6 months, you work, and then you come back.
Mhm.
So I think it would be nice as a tester. So you don't completely pack your bags and leave and then reach and regret and kind of gradually go back. That's what I really want to do. I really want to contribute to like the struggle. Eh? I don't want to be just on the sidelines. Yeah, I want to help push things in the right direction. Yeah, for our country. Yeah, because it really pains me because I want to use my skills to help my people.
In medicine, we've made a lot of leaps and strides in that. It's not like the olden days where doctors were all male, right?
Yeah.
We've made a lot of leaps and strides. But now that we have females in the medical profession, there's challenges for female doctors, especially if you have kids. So I'd be interested to hear from you, how has that affected your career, your training, etc., your relationship with your colleagues, your supervisors, that sort of thing.
Well, in terms of my career, it kind of slows you down. It slows you down because already I would have finished by now if I didn't have kids, for instance. I would have finished the first half of my training because you have to keep taking pauses. You kind of take a pause. You become a bit slower. But I think, in my opinion, I'm a better doctor for it because I'm a mother. My first job back after maternity leave is going to be in perinatal mental health. And imagine if I wasn't a mom, I'm sure there are loads of people who are not moms and do that job, but I feel like I relate so much to them. And also I'm a potential patient because perinatal mental health covers the first year after having a baby. So I feel like we're going to be in this together with whatever patients I get. I think I'll totally understand them. So in my field, I think it helps in terms of my like the way you're treated like by your colleagues and what I feel like it helps also. I think it really helps that I'm a mother because for instance when I was working in acute medicine before I came into psychiatry in my like other job, I was working in acute medicine. It was a kind of ward where it was so busy, like people rarely left on time. It was so rare to leave on time, but I always left on time. I can count on my one hand the number of times I left late because everyone knew I was a mom. So the other people I was working with anyway, they were very understanding. I know none of them had kids. They would just say, "You go home," because I have childcare. Like I have to pick up my kid. I have, so it helped me to keep those boundaries like stricter. Home time is home time. I have to go. And then also the people around, I think at work are usually more understanding. Like they are more able to say, you know what, you can work from home if you're able to, your kid is sick and all this. Like generally that's what my experience has been, is that people have been more accommodating and it's kind of been a plus for me.
That's amazing. I feel like that's one huge difference, especially having spent a couple of years in the UK
Mm.
versus the US. It depends. It's not everywhere, but in the
Yes.
US, it's work, work, work. Work is work. You're
Mm.
home. There are people, for example, one of my co-fellows has now moved on to a different fellowship now. She has two young kids and it's just her and her husband. So when it's time to go pick up the kids, she has to go. And I feel
Yeah.
like she's received a lot of support. She's in a very busy fellowship now. She is constantly on her feet at work, but they're very supportive. So it's like, that's one thing I really loved about the UK. And here, for the most part, it's like that, but it depends on the specialty, it depends on the
Mm.
department. That's why, like, for example, psychiatry is very family friendly.
Yes.
Pathology for me, I felt would be very family. That's part of the reason why I picked pathology. Yeah. Do you have anything else you'd like to add?
My partner has been super supportive. So if my partner wasn't as supportive, I don't know how I would do it because I feel like we are really partners. We're like partners. Everyone can do everything. Like because like in the beginning, when I'd come back from work, then I'd have to do housework and all that. But then with time, I guess he got on board and he realized that I couldn't do it all. And so he started doing more stuff like in the home. So he can actually do everything that I can do. The only thing he can't do is breastfeed the babies, honestly.
Wow.
Yeah, but we do everything together. And so he had to give up working formally because of childcare, because I guess there was more hope for my career. Like I had to continue working. There'll be a point, like we're working towards something. So that's why he had to stop and then to look after the kids.
Mhm.
We're going to do a video together, me and my husband, talking about our experience of our unconventional marriage. Go check it out on my channel because I'm sure
Yeah.
it might be out by now.
I feel
Mm.
like women in medicine, you have to have a supportive partner. Otherwise, your career will not go anywhere or you won't be able to progress because without the support of our partners and our family members, if they are around, then it's very hard. It's very, very hard to progress. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching. If you have any questions for myself or for Cissy, I will link her channel down below so you can go to her channel and check out her videos. She has a lot about the UK and the process of becoming a doctor in the UK if you're an international medical graduate. Very, very helpful tips. So check her out. If you have specific questions about moving to the UK as a medical professional, Cissy is going to go over the process of how it is that you can get in touch with her and how that works.
Yes, thank you so much for letting me have this shameless plug on your channel. And yeah, so like she's mentioned, if you have any questions, well, first of all, in the first instance, I would advise that you watch my YouTube videos. I have a playlist on an international doctor's guide to the UK. And if you have any questions, you can comment below. I reply to all my comments. And then if you feel like you still want to talk to me, that's fine. You can go ahead and book a one-on-one session with me, which is where we can have a virtual call at a small fee. And you can do that at my website, which is ccatwine.com, which is basically my name's.com. Yeah, thank you.
Like, comment, subscribe. And if you want more information about my videos and any upcoming information, you can check out my Instagram as well as my Facebook. It's Making Healthy Choices with Dr. L. Until next time, bye guys.